Hi guys, how are y'all doing today? Listen, it is hot as blazes out here. I hope you guys are all staying hydrated. A gallon of water a day is not enough. I find myself going over every single day. So listen, lately I've been reading a lot of articles about like why you shouldn't buy a house, right? And it's these so-called millionaires and how they got rich who's coming out here and telling you why renting is better than buying. And you know what? For some people, renting might be better than buying. Some people don't want to be bothered with what it takes to be a homeowner. So what they do is they rent, and that's fine. For people like myself and for other people who dream about owning a home, it is not just owning a home, right? It's buying a house is an investment, and I'm going to tell you why. And a lot of you watching this already know why. If you're a homeowner, you know why. And if you're not a homeowner, listen up. So the narrative right now is that you shouldn't buy a house because there is not enough inventory and the interest rates are really high. Yeah, the interest rates are high. So what? Can you afford to buy a home? Maybe you can't afford to buy in the neighborhood that you want to buy, but do you really want to stay in your neighborhood? I think a lot of people get comfortable with where we are and we don't want to move. And there is more affordable housing option out there. You just have to get out of your comfort zone and get the hell out of Dodge, right? When I moved from Woodside, I didn't want to live anywhere else. I want to live in Woodside or near to Woodside. But then I realized that Woodside was not giving me the lifestyle that I need for my daughter, because the whole point of me buying a home was so my daughter has a yard, right? And then you guys know I talk about all the time that I used to live in the shelter, and I never wanted to go back to that. But also I saw that renting was going to take me right back there, because at any moment the landlord can say that they're not renting anymore. And then every couple of years when the rent goes up to where I can't afford it, I constantly have to be looking for a place that I can afford. And I got tired of moving, and I say, you know what, I don't want her to remember her childhood as the childhood where we moved around a lot. I want her to remember her childhood having a stable home, which is kind of how I grew up, right? And so what I did was I started looking at ways that I can own a home. Guys, first thing I'm going to tell you, if you want to buy a house, buy a house. No, you don't have 20% to put down. I did not have 20%. I didn't even have 5%. I put down 3%, and it took me 2 years after going through the first-time home buyers program to save up that money that was matched by these different programs from the first-time home buyers program that the state offers. And each state has their own first-time home buyers, or they call them sometimes home dreamer program. And I encourage you to seek those out. So you take this class. Well, in New York, you take a class, and there are banks that participate, and then you save a certain amount of money each month, right? You save a certain percentage each month, and they match it dollar for dollar or $2 to $1 for what you have. So I never really had to come up out my pocket with a down payment or closing costs, because it was covered. Now, we bought this home 10 years ago, right? And we bought it 10 years ago when after the recession of 2008, and when the market was just bouncing back. So now we were able to, and the rates was not that low then. I mean, back then our rate was 4.75. We had a PMI, and we refinanced almost 2 years ago, and then we took out a second mortgage. That's how we were able to buy our flower shop, because our home equity was like crazy. So we took out a second mortgage, and we were still able to get a lower rate than what we had done when we previously bought in 2013. And there are people who have lived and owned their homes, and they've lived there for the last 20 years, and they don't take advantage of the equity that you build up, guys. Your home is an investment, and it's why I would encourage you to buy property that grows in equity. it's like banking, but better, right? So you buy your home and you're investing in it. So yeah, no, you can't take out any equity in the first year or the first 2 years. But 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you'll need something, or God forbid something happen and you need some money, or you need to pay off some debts. You borrow from yourself. And I remember when the opportunity came up for us to buy the flower shop. My husband's like, we'll go through the banks. I'm like, no. We went through the whole SBA application thing, and it was not a pleasant experience at all. And it didn't work out, and we pulled out. I said to him, I said, we have all this equity that we're not using, because he was always adamant that he does not want to use the equity in the house. But what is the point of having it if you cannot use it? The whole point of having it is so you can use it. That's why you're doing it. It's an investment in you. And now if you take out your equity and use it wisely, now that investment that you initially did is paying off, so you can invest in something else that's going to build you up, right? And so that's what we did. And I see all these articles these days for the last couple of months that's saying, don't buy a house, don't buy a house, don't buy a house. Listen, I'm not really sure where that narrative is coming from. I'm going to assume it's coming from the people who don't want us to buy houses. And when I say us, they don't want the other half to find out what it is and how they got rich, right? Or how they were able to invest in themselves and where the money came from. Because it doesn't matter. I can tell you from experience, for someone who's always looking to make more money and more money and more money, because you're living paycheck to paycheck and hand to mouth, is that there is no such thing as a side hustle. There's just the daily grind and the daily hustle. There's no such thing as a side hustle. You're hustling, period. And if you want to make money, you have to spend money. Anything that's out there, no matter how many videos you watch, no matter how many articles you read, you still have to put some money into it to make some money. And if you don't have any money, you are not going to make any money. Or it will take you very, very long time to make some money, because you're starting from the ground up. And you don't need to reinvent the wheel to actually make money, but it's going to take money. And a lot of times, I remember 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to hear that it takes money to make money. But as I got older and I got better with money, and I learned what money is and how money works and how the world works, I realized that it does take money to make money. You want to make money, you need a little bit of money. And the mentality that you can go out there and have these side hustles and make money, it's not true. It's all work. And what everyone is trying to avoid is working more so they can have more. But that is the reality of it. The reality of it is, if you want more, you have to go harder. You have to work harder. You have to put more into it, right? So what I'm saying is, buy your home. Don't wait. Today's the day. Okay, today is the day to make that step. Live at home, want to move out your parents' house, stop saying you can't afford it. You probably cannot stay in New York. Okay, move from New York, move from LA, move from a big city. Because, I think I told you guys before that there's information out there and programs that will help you to make your dreams come true of being a homeownership. You just have to come out of your comfortability. And that is hard. Like when I moved to a 2-fare zone, I was just like, oh my God, I am going to hate it here. I don't know anyone here. The supermarket is too far away. Actually, the supermarket is like 3 blocks away. I'm not used to taking the bus to the train, and now I'm going to get home even later. But you know what? It was worth it. I don't regret it. All these people out there that's telling you why it's better to rent than to buy, and that's how they became a millionaire, because they weren't paying rent. Well, you are investing $2,000 a month in an apartment that's not yours. Okay? Your landlord can refinance. He can take out a second mortgage. He can borrow against this property. Do you know what you got? What do you have? Nothing. You have nothing. The new Tesla does not appreciate in value. The Jeep does not appreciate in the value. Your clothes, the shoes, it does not appreciate in value. What appreciates in value is property. Property, something tangible, something where that is going to grow and be in the best interest of you. So my daughter just graduated high school, and now I want to buy her a fixer-upper. And I've been looking into it, and I've spoken to her about it. And she's like, well, I don't want to live in the city, but I don't want to live far away from the city either. No. Buying her a fixer-upper, I already explained that I cannot do it in New York City. I can do it upstate New York. I can do it in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. I can do it in probably not Virginia, but I can do it somewhere else. So we just have to settle down and look at it. My husband's pretty handy, and I'm good with the numbers, and we can make it happen. So even if she's not interested in, say, owning her own home right now because she wants to travel, it's building up equity. So by the time she's 25, she has enough equity in there that she can either sell, rent, take her some equity, and buy something somewhere else that she wants. So I want to give her that head start. And you know, I have poured over so much information. I was never interested in like Airbnb and short-term rental. I was just not. But rental period, I'm interested in. Getting a multi-unit and renting it out in a different state, probably near to a college, or upstate New York, near to a school where I can do student housing, something like that. And it is frustrating to me when I see certain millionaires keep saying, don't buy a house. Don't invest in real estate, when that is the very thing, when you look them up, that made them their money. Now, why is that? So, you know, you want to become a homeowner, and it's consistency. Guys, nothing comes easy. And I know y'all hate that saying, because I used to hate that saying. Like, what the hell? Of course I know nothing comes easy. Shit, I gotta go to the grocery store and pick up my own groceries and come back and clean them up and put them away just to make dinner. By the time I do that, I don't even want to cook. We know nothing comes easy. And consistency. You tell yourself, what is it that you want to do with your life? I have a neighbor that told me that she's owned her home for 20 years and they've never refinanced or take out a home equity loan or take out a second mortgage. And I asked her why. Because there's so many other things that she's telling me that she wants to do, and there's no money. So I asked her why. And she said, I don't know. I've just never thought about it. And I said, so you take out some equity, and as long as you're paying your mortgage, your equity is building back up. If the market changes and your neighborhood, like what was happening during COVID, where everybody rushing to buy a home because they don't want to be stuck in the apartment and they want a yard, and the property values goes up. The property values dropped in my neighborhood, but not by much. So it was up like 6.58, and now it's down by like 2.8. So I'm still ahead. I'm still ahead in the game. And when you make that type of investment in yourself, and people will say, oh, I don't want to have a 30-year mortgage again. What? Just because you paid off your home, the race is not to pay off your home. That's not the race. The race is to buy the house, live in the house, build equity in the house, take from the house, buy another house, invest in a business, build it back up, take some out, do something else, like life insurance, right? Buy a whole life insurance policy, buy a good one, build it up in 5 years, borrow from it. You're borrowing from yourself. You don't have to pay it back, but you do have to keep paying the premiums, right? Invest in yourself. Use it for a down payment on a property, because what I realized that I stopped doing was I stopped working to retire. My goal is not to retire. My goal is just to be comfortable and financially free, right? Which doesn't necessarily mean rich, even though I'd like to be rich. It just means that I just want to be financially stable where I'm not living hand to mouth. And if I go visit my brother and my nieces and nephews in Spain and in the Netherlands, I'm not worried about that. When I come back, I don't know how the mortgage is going to be paid. That type of financial freedom is what I'm looking for. And right now it's 11 minutes after 12. It is Thursday. My husband is in the hospital. He had to go to the emergency room about 2:30 this morning, and I have to go make some deliveries with Lewis. So we're heading off now to the flower shops so I can go do deliveries in Queens and in Brooklyn, and I love delivering flowers. If it was something that I had to choose to do now that would even give me half of my income delivering, I'd do it. I love the freedom of doing it. So till next time, guys, I will see you soon. Try to beat the heat. And for those of you who has been voting for me in the favorite chef, thank you, thank you, thank you. Today is the cut for the semifinals. Only the #1 placement make it to the semifinals. So if you guys are out there and you are voting, thank you. If you're not voting, please vote. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.